Welcome to this video lecture series on transportation engineering. In this session, we shall discuss on the highway lightning. Highway lightning is one of the important parameters along with the other design parameters of the highway planning. And the design procedure for the transport lightning it contains first is the need for the street lightning. Next is the definition associated with the traffic lightnings. Third is the distribution of light. And lastly, we have to see the design factors for the street lightning. First, what actually is the necessity of lightning? As we know that the basic or the main purpose of the street lightning is to enable the road users to visualize or see the objects or the carriageway accurately and easily in the darkness, thus avoiding the road accidents. As we know that the major cause of the road accidents is at the night is just because of the poor lighting on the streets. And with this improved visibility at the night, which can be done by the means of this artificial lighting, it will reduce the strain on the driver's eyes and which will cause utmost comfort of driving at the night. And it will also make the drivers more confident to drive the vehicles under the given conditions of the roads with the proper street lightnings. Here, with the better lighting, the velocity or the speed of the traffic will also improve, as a better visibility if it is being provided. The drivers at night, they can visualize the objects or car moving on the road, and if better visibility is being provided, there will be a free flow of the traffic on the streets. The highway traffic is again very much important at the intersections, the bridge sides, the narrow lanes, than the level crossings, and most importantly, the places where the traffic movements they are restricted or congested. And on the urban roads where the density of the population is high, the road lighting has an other advantage like the feeling of security and protections. Next, the factors affecting the night vision. The majority of the factors affecting the night visions are as follows. First is the amount and distribution of the light flux from the lamps. It is the total light which will be illuminated by the lamps. Second is the size of the object. Size of the object is the object which will be visible clearly to the driver or the user of the road at night. The size, it will directly affect on its affect onto the vision or a view of the user of the road. That might be a driver, that might be a pedestrian, etc. Third is the brightness of the object. Here for an example, at night if you are moving on a vehicle, if the object on the road, if it is of white color or light color, its brightness will be more, so it will be easily visible for the user. But as compared to this light color or a white color object, if it is of a black color, then its brightness will be less. Thus, it takes more time for the user or the driver to visualize the object, and this increased time and reduced distance of the driver and the dark colored object, it may intend to collide or form an accident. Next is the brightness of the background. The brightness of the background, it directly helps in order to distinguish the object lying on the road or adjoining the road. as it reflects the light and makes the object more clearly visible. Then the reflecting characteristics of the pavement. Here the white topped pavement or the concrete roads, they are having the good reflecting characteristics as compared to the black topped pavement, that is a bitumen pavement, as on the white top pavement or the concrete roads, the light from the street lights or the headlight beam of the vehicle, when it gets instant on the surface of this road, it gets reflected, thus causing better luminance. Next is the glare on the eyes of the driver. Glare, as we know, is a major problem which causes the temporary blinding of this vision of the driver or the user. Next is the time available to see an object. Time available to see an object should be very efficient in order to take quick reaction, in order to apply the brakes or to slow down the speed of the vehicle, thus to avoid the accident. Next, the important terms associated with lightning. First is luminous flux. Now, this is the radiant power given by the light source, and it is expressed as in SI unit as lumen. That means what actually is the radiant power of that particular bulb or a street light. Here, and simple example will be to distinguish the various bulbs depending upon the amount of radiation or light it can generate. Next is the lumen with the unit as luminous flux, abbreviated as LM. It is equal to the amount of flux received on the surface area of 1 meter square of the sphere when a light source of 1 candle power is placed at its center. So lumen, it is equal to the candle power into the solid angle. Steradian is a unit of the solid angle, and it is equal to the solid angle subtended at the center of a sphere by a unit area of its surface. Next, the luminous intensity. L. Luminous flux emitted per unit solid angle is called as the luminous intensity. Next is candela. Candela, it is the unit of the luminous intensity. Luminous intensity is expressed in candela, is called as the candle power. Next is glare. Now the condition of vision which causes this discomfort or reduction in the ability to see the significant objects or both due to an unsuitable distribution of luminance or other extreme constraints in the space or time is called as glare. The example we have discussed earlier. Next is lantern. It is a house for one or more lamps which will comprise a body and an refractor, the reflector, diffuser or enclosure associated with the lamps. Next is illumination E. It is a measure of the amount of light flux which falls on the surface, and is expressed as formatted as EA will be equals to LM multiplied by CU multiplied by LMF divided by S multiplied by W, and the unit is lux or lumens per meter square. Here LM is the lamp lumens, CU is the coefficient of utilization, LMF is the lamp maintenance factor, S is the spacing between the luminaires, M and meters, and W is the width of the roadway or a street in meters. Luminance or the brightness is the intensity emitted or reflected per unit area of a surface. The distribution of light. Distribution of light can be explained as the total output of a point light source which will naturally radiate uniformly from the point with equal intensity in all the directions. And it is evident that such light distributions will be insufficient and uneconomical when the source of light is to direct the light towards a relatively limited area, such as the pavement of the street. That means the distribution of light, it will be directed only towards a specific area on the pavement or on the road. Thus, having this sort of a restricted area of the distribution of light will not be economical. There are mainly three types of distributions of light. First is the glare, second is the vertical distribution, and third is the lateral distribution. Now, glare, it will have the disturbing influence when viewing a difficult visual task under the low brightness conditions, and it basically has two types. First is the disability glare and second is the discomfort glare. With this disability glare will be basically caused due to the condition of the eyesight or the age of the viewer or his capability to visualize the object. And second is the discomfort glare, which will be caused due to the incident beam light or the flashlights on to the eyes of the driver. And the amount of the glare present is which will depend on, first is the brightness of the glare source, second will be the angle of incident with respect to the normal line of vision. The most common example is the beam light and the dim light of the vehicle or the dimmer of the car, which has to be used at the night, which will not have the direct angle of incident or light rays to fall onto the normal vision line of the driver. Next, the area of the glare source. What actually is the area of the glare source on which when the light when it is incident on that surface and the glare it will be formed. That area of the glare source will again have its influence onto the total amount of glare caused. Lastly, the distance of the glare source from the observer. Now that various mechanical means by which or artificial means by which the lightning can be possible. First is the lamp. As you know that lamps are the most commonly used for the highway lightnings. The different types of lamps used are the tungsten filament lamps, which are absolute nowadays, the fluorescent lamps, then the solid vapor lamps and the mercury vapor lamps. Along with this, nowadays use of the solar lightning and LEDs is done as they form to be more economical, as well as the maintenance cost is also low as compared to the other types of lamps. The luminaire distribution of light. In order to have the best utility of the luminaire or the source of light, it is very necessary to have the proper distribution of the light. And this proper distribution of the light, it should be aimed in order to achieve the following purposes. Its major purpose is to cover all the pavement along with the curves or between the curves, and it should make prominent that the traffic signs and other objects on the road are clearly visible to the driver or the user of the road. and it should produce maximum uniformity of the pavement brightness. That means it should have uniform distribution of light, thus avoiding the dark spots on the pavement. Next is the horizontal aiming. Horizontal aiming can be understood as the two floodlights when they are mounted to a single pole, as we can see from the figure. Then the horizontal aiming will be obtained. Here, the each floodlight should be vertically aimed according to the 2/3 rule, forming an angle of 90 degrees with the aiming line, as you can see from the figure. The distribution of the light in the horizontal direction is, as we know, it is equally important. Hence, it is not enough that this pavement alone is lightened from the aesthetic considerations. And the pedestrian footpaths or the footways and the curbs also are needed to be lighted adequately. The lighting which is being provided by the means of this lamp, they should lighten not only the pavement but also the footpaths and the curbs for the better visibility of the user of the road. Hence, horizontal aiming with the help of two lamps provided on a single pole, they should be fixed in such a way that they form, or the floodlights when their aiming line, it should form an angle of 90 degrees. With this we shall stop. Thank you.